All right, so I was thinking about the other day, actually a conversation I had with Nate Kermelj about this, and we get in this part of the year and it's fucking terrible like it is right now outside, like truly awful to be outside for more than like the transport from the car into the building or in the building back into the car. I thought it's important to kind of bring this up. So there's something called S.A.D, and it's seasonal affective disorder. Who here, by show of hands, has experienced a change in mood as a result of the poor, crappy weather outside? Really? Never? Good for you. I'm very happy for you. I will say this. It only, at best, affects about 10% of the population. Like, they typically poll people from different parts of the United States, and like, Alaska typically has it worse because they get like 1 hour of sunlight for part of the year, and people in Florida are like, what the hell's S.A.D? I don't know what you're talking about. So there's a great discrepancy in this, but essentially, the things that cause someone to have seasonal affective disorder are just basic human needs that we should all be attending to, even if we don't have it yet, because we don't want to have it. And I'm going to go into kind of essentials what it is. But in 1980, a dude named Norman Rosenthal kind of finally put this a name to this issue, seasonal affective disorder. And since then, they've sort of figured out there are essentially one of two ways this happens. Is either a dysregulated way that your body produces serotonin this time of year because of the lack of sunlight, or because of the lack of bright light in your face, because you don't go outside when it's sunny out, you know, maybe at best go to the car and then get in your car, drive to the office, and then hide in the office all day until the sun's down, is that you don't stimulate your pineal gland, which produces melatonin and helps you get nice, restful, deep sleep. And as a result, you start to have these symptoms come around the same part of this year. And I'm definitely someone who's had issues with this in the past. The things are things like depression, anxiety, ADHD symptoms, which for someone that doesn't know can be hyperactivity, it can be fidgety, it can be lack of focus, it can be lack of personal relationships, things that just tend to lean themselves away from being a very personable, tribal person like we are supposed to be. Can cause low energy. It can cause sleep changes. For some people, it causes them to sleep way more. For some people, it causes them to sleep way less. Causes you to overeat. When you sleep less, it definitely affects the way that your body deals with glucose, and all of a sudden you need sugar at all times, which is why people get carbohydrate cravings. It messes with your libido, which I don't think anybody wants. And last but not least, you put on extra weight. So, again, why is this happening? We're having a disrupted either serotonin production or melatonin issue in our own body. So, that happens because this time of year, we tend to spend less time in the sunshine and less time moving. And what I mean by that is that when it's nice outside, it's no big deal to go for a walk, play with your kids, go with your dog, do something outside because it's generally pleasant to be outside. And because we're in a time of year where the sun hangs a little bit higher in the sky, we get a little bit more vitamin D. These things cause us to produce serotonin and melatonin the way that we're supposed to, which definitely affects the way we feel, our mood, our energy, our cravings, our libido, and our ability to hold off weight. So the fix is relatively simple, but not easy. And I mean simple meaning that anyone can do it, but easy because not many people do it. First thing is get outside. The threshold you should all set for yourselves is 20 minutes. Now ideally, that's when the sun is outside, first thing in the morning if you can do it. If you got to bundle up and the only thing that's getting sunshine is your face, that's cool. But like today, I said to myself, I haven't done this in a while, so I sat on the hood of my car and I stared at the sun. Not like directly at the sun, but like in the direction of the sun. I stare at the sun for an hour. But the idea here is I'm trying to get sun in my face because I know that I'm going to feel better if I do. 20 minutes a day, and that's even on days where it's not sunny outside. Is it better if you're in the sun? Sure, but you still get some benefit even when it gets filtered through the clouds. Second thing, get moving. And I have bad news. CrossFit alone is not enough. They've actually done studies on folks of people who have manual labor jobs and people who exercise intensely for 30 minutes a few times a week. And they kind of track them across a few years to see who had healthier health markers. The people who are physically active and had just those jobs where you move all day long, they work in a mill, they work on a farm, they just work, moving their body, they tend to be healthier than the person who does the intense exercise for 30 minutes and that's all they do for exercise. So my recommendation is based upon what they call non-exercise movement, NEM. They did a study with Marines years ago, and they found that 8,000 steps per day was the threshold at which they began having normal sleeping patterns. 8,000 steps per day is somewhere around 30 minutes of outside walking, right? Now you can split that up as many different times as you want. You want to do 6 5-minute walks? Great. You want to do 1 30-minute walk? Great. But get up and get moving and make sure that you're doing stuff not just CrossFit. Like do other things outside. To avoid the overeating and the craving for carbohydrate, fill your plate up with more protein and fat. The basic way you should look at your plate every single day is that every day you eat, you can put everything you eat on one single plate. If less of what's on that plate is protein and fat, guess what fills it? Carbohydrate. Typically our blood sugar is low, we want to crave for things that aren't healthy. This all happens to all of you. When you meal plan, you plan what you're going to have for the day, you typically make pretty good choices, right? But if you're starving and you're at Whole Foods at lunchtime, everything looks good and you're just going to get whatever's easiest. And then last but not least, vitamin D. This is something that we should all take because of where we live in the United States. We live in a part of the world where we don't get good sunshine year round. And for a lot of people, vitamin D is something they just don't produce enough of because they're not in the sunshine enough. Now, if you go and look at GNC, Hannaford, there's going to be 12 trillion different vitamin D supplements. And they're all going to have varying levels of what they call vitamin D3, and their IUs is the unit. Some people are going to tell you 500, some people tell you 1,000, some people tell you 2,000. I'm here to tell you that all of them are too low. The RDA for vitamin D is extremely low, and it's not toxic, so take more of it. Vitamin D is directly related to how your hormones are produced and how you feel and your mood and your sleep. I've actually found, this is anecdotally, with people who have issues with their sleep, issues with migraines, issues with mood, if I start putting them on, I ask them to try doing this, they start to feel a lot better. So if you've never tried vitamin D, which is a very inexpensive supplement, it's a very good thing you could do, especially this time of year where you can't be outside. Do you guys have any questions over any of that? The fix: go outside, move your body, eat well, and if those things don't work, try some vitamin D. But do those first three things first before you move on to that last one. Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks, Kate.